Yo, what's good? We're back with another one.
It's showtime.
The CIA drew up plans to kidnap and to assassinate me within the Ecuadorian embassy in London and authorized going after my European colleagues, subjecting us to theft, hacking attacks, and the planting of false information. My wife and my infant son were also targeted. A CIA asset was permanently assigned to track my wife, and instructions were given to obtain DNA from my 6-month-old son's nappy. The criminalization of news-gathering activities is a threat to investigative journalism everywhere. I was formally convicted by a foreign power for asking for, receiving, and publishing truthful information about that power while I was in Europe. Journalists should not be prosecuted for doing their jobs. Journalism is not a crime. It is a pillar of a free and informed society.
What the fuck? Who is this guy?
It's the founder of WikiLeaks, bro. We're gonna need to do an episode on this.
Have you ever seen, they just recently made images of quantum entangled photons?
No, I mean, I know about quantum entanglement, another great mystery. I haven't seen the images.
Spooky action in the distance.
Yeah.
Take a look at what this looks like. Quantum entangled photons look like a yin-yang. Like, exactly.
Oh, awesome.
Exactly. That's it. That's a quantum entangled photon.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Are you kidding?
Oh my God.
So each one contains the at its center a bit of the other.
Exactly. So maybe someone knew this thousands and thousands of years ago. The idea that the Chinese or whoever created that initial symbol, the idea that they just stumbled accidentally upon an actual image of quantum entangled photons, very unlikely. That just seems too insane and too amazing.
This is fucking crazy.
Yeah, bro. There has to be ancient civilizations.
It can't be a coincidence that that symbol's so important.
So I got 2 finds over here, ancient books from 1850 right here. The Power of Water talks all about how you can use water to create energy and electricity. But, we never learned about that. And then this one, I never in my life thought I could find this book. This book goes into talking about the color blue and how you would put the color blue in your greenhouse or in front of your plants, and they will grow 3 to 4 times the size. And this will be in my book, actually. I'll be writing about this, but I'll just turn the page. I don't want to... And you can see that they even used blue ink in this one. And look at, this is from 1876. And check that. Window panes with blue glass to amplify plant growth.
We gotta get that guy's book.
On it, bro.
The locals around this encampment, the U.S. encampment, reported that the U.S. military were digging at night, taking things out of the ground and putting them onto trucks and driving them off.
That's crazy.
But this is also crazy. So a couple months into this war, after they had this encampment and the locals were reporting them digging stuff up and taking it, they had the invasion of Baghdad, which is the capital of Iraq. And what the U.S. military did not help with was that there's this giant museum in Iraq that is all about the Sumerian culture. It's like one of the largest in the world of the Sumerians were like one of these first civilizations, And it had, just hundreds of thousands of tablets, manuscripts, artifacts, and it was left unprotected, and it got bombed all around it, and then all these looters came in and stole a bunch of stuff. But
what's missing?
A lot of people were like, before the looters came, the U.S. military came, rushed in, and stole vaults from the bowels of the museum, put them onto trucks, and then drove off.
I remember when this happened, it was tragic.
They were looking for Anunnaki technology, bro.
Brace yourself, because there are new Mandela effects. I've been going through all of the Large Hadron Collider tests by date and their subsequent Mandela effects that accompany that. The most recent Large Hadron Collider test was in Tennessee. You may have seen the interesting clouds in the sky August 16th, 2024. This was at the Oak Ridge National Laboratory in Tennessee. They fired up the particle accelerator at Oak Ridge in Tennessee, and there are huge glowing rings of clouds in the sky that are certainly not natural. Temporal portal, high energy disturbance. First new Mandela effect is Pinky in the Brain. Do you remember the catchphrase that they used to say? Brain used to say, "Are you thinking what I'm thinking, Pinky?" The new line in this new timeline is, "Are you pondering what I'm pondering?" I don't recall that in any way. Do you? Second Mandela effect. Cow tipping is now impossible. What? I grew up in a farm area in Northern California, and I had so many friends get into trouble for accomplishing this. This timeline, cows are seen lying on the ground frequently to rest. I don't ever recall seeing that as a child. Mandela effect number 3, Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds was never black and white. I actually saw it in black and white in a film class, so this is really confusing to me. Have you noticed any new Mandela effects since August 16th this year? If so, let's share.
I'm pretty sure cow tipping was an urban legend, but there's no way Brain said pondering.
Bro, The Birds was in black and white.
Who is the most powerful person in America?
Oh, I don't think anybody would probably know their name. Yeah, they're sort of behind the scenes. But certainly people on this committee, like Admiral Wilson, he was a deputy director of CIA. Then he was the director of the National Security Agency. Then he moved on to the board of, wait for it, Science Applications International Corporation.
Who's this?
Admiral Bobby Randman. So that's where the action is. I think the center of gravity isn't in the government at all.
Was Mr. Bush Sr. ever one of these high-ranking people that was on the inside, or no?
Oh, absolutely. George H.W. Bush?
Yes.
Yes, W, no. But George H.W. Bush, he was the one who threatened Bill Clinton. But stay quiet, there's none of your business. I have a witness to Mr. Clinton sharing.
George H.W. Bush Sr.
Yes, it's none of your business, butt out. And these were people trying to infiltrate these illegal black projects, but most of them either got absorbed or killed. And eventually, George H.W. Bush said, back off. This is none of your business.
Did he?
Oh, yeah.
I thought Larry Fink was the most powerful person in the world.
Nah, bro, I told you. He's just the face. If you want to know the name in the last episode, just flip the exclamation marks upside down.
I'm not one of those people.
Oprah Winfrey's world is about to come crashing down, and it's all thanks to Diddy. Oprah has been involved with Diddy for years, and now that Diddy is getting exposed for all he did, it looks like Oprah might be next. But what exactly did he do? Without wasting any time, let's get into it. Now, everyone knows how untouchable Oprah is in the industry, but with how things are going for Diddy right now, her time of being untouchable might just be coming to an end, and not in a good way, because people are finally starting to put everything together, and Diddy's messy situation is getting to Oprah. You see, Oprah and Diddy have been friends for a very long time. There are many pictures of Diddy and Oprah out there looking comfortable together, the way you would be with a close friend. I mean, how many other people have pictures of themselves with their hand on Oprah's lap? That should give you an idea of just how close they've been over the years. But since Diddy's scandal started, Oprah hasn't said a word about him and what he's been accused of. Which is funny because Oprah has never shied away from talking about a trending story, much less a scandal, especially one that involves any form of harm to women. I mean, just days after Chris Brown and Rihanna's incident made its way to the news, Oprah had something to say about Chris. And it's not like she had anything against him. Before the incident, Oprah had a working relationship with Chris and even had him perform at her girls' school in South Africa. But after what happened, he was on the wrong end of Oprah's feminist beliefs. So she spoke out against him. Given all that and everything that happened recently, you'd think that Oprah would have come out to say something about Diddy.
Yeah, she's gonna get cooked. Thought we were doing an episode on Diddy.
I want to wait till they catch Steve, bro.
Who?
Mr. Potato Head in the suit. He left the country as soon as Diddy got arrested.
Yeah, that's not gonna look good in court.
What's happening in China right now is on a whole other level. They've created an AI robot that's unlike anything we've seen before. And trust me, when I first heard about this, my mind was blown. Let's cut to the chase.
Cut to the chase!
This isn't your average robot with a silicon brain. Nah, These mad scientists have gone and given it a brain made from actual living cells. You're not mishearing me. We're talking about a robot with a partially biological brain. They've crossed a line that many thought was uncrossable, redefining the very essence of artificial intelligence. Now, before you start picturing some kind of cyborg monstrosity, let me paint you a clearer picture. They're calling this thing a brain on a chip. Sounds pretty futuristic, right? Well, it kinda is. Instead of relying on traditional computer circuits, these researchers have grown teeny tiny brain cells in a lab and plopped them onto a microchip. With surgical precision, they've transplanted the essence of human cognition into the cold heart of a machine, kickstarting a whole new era of smart machines.
These guys are fucking crazy, bro.
I think a lot of good can come from AI, but I don't think we should be pushing it to get better just yet.
Fuck that, bro. They need to stop it.
ABC News has obtained a videotape that shows clearly what happened when the president fell ill. Here's White House correspondent Ann Compton.
Here's something odd I came across. This is President Bush Sr., not to be confused with his son, a later president. And in 1992, he vomited on the Japanese prime minister and then fainted. Now, the odd things. Firstly, I don't remember this happening at all. But now there's all these clips on YouTube I'm just seeing. Secondly, watch his wife. That's Barbara Bush, who some say is Aleister Crowley's daughter. Some say is a man. As soon as she sees he's gonna vomit, she darts over to cover his mouth and nose. Possibly the worst thing you could do, right? Was she trying to hide something being seen from camera? And thirdly, look at this news clip. They are about to report that the president died the same day, then suddenly backtrack.
This just into CNN headline news, and we we say right off the bat, we have not confirmed this through any other source.
Stop.
We are now getting a correction. We will not give you that story. It was regarding some other tragic news involving President Bush, but...
Barbara Bush put a spell on him, bro.
I doubt it, mate. But you gotta ask, why would him throwing up lead them to think he was gonna die?
If you haven't seen our episode on Aleister Crowley, check it out.
Can I blow your mind right now? Okay. Have you ever asked yourself why we went to the moon?
They didn't, bro.
Right, let that sink in. Chris and I were talking about this week because his dad was born in 1961, and he remembers watching the Apollo 11 mission on television, but NASA never gave a formal reason for the mission, right? And it's an awfully long way. It's an awfully expensive and complicated endeavor just to bring back some samples of moon rocks, right? Is it not far more likely that we were invited there in order to bring back something of extreme value? And if you're asking yourself, well, what is the thing that we brought back? Well, ask yourself this question. How is it that computers in the 1960s, and your dad remembers this, were the size of an entire room, right? But almost overnight in the early 70s, computers now can fit on your desk. How's that possible? And if you really want to go down this rabbit hole with me, you're probably asking yourself, well, why would a hyper-advanced extraterrestrial race give us nanotechnology in exchange for nothing? Well, it wasn't in exchange for nothing. And all you have to do is look at the timeline. In 1952, we discover the polio vaccine. And next thing you know, in 1961, John F. Kennedy is announcing that we are going to the moon. I think you can put two and two together.
You've been on some questionable endeavors to pick up moon rocks.
Yeah, but they were worth it, bro.
What did you say was the evidence that it happened 10,000 BC?
Well, the Giza ground plan, like we were just talking about.
The Giza ground plan.
Yeah, the alignment of the three stars of Orion's belt with the three pyramids, and the alignment of the Sphinx with its counterpart on the horizon, that gives us an astrological date of the age of Leo.
Yes.
And that happens to be right after the Great Flood took place, right? Through the melting of the ice sheets.
Between 12,900 years ago and
roundabout.
There's like a 1,000-year period there in the Younger Dryas.
Exactly, and this is again also when Plato tells us Atlantis was destroyed. But if you go to South America, the Mayans also say that the people who built these megalithic structures, the people of Quetzalcoatl, that the people of the feathered serpent, they came there after the Great Flood. That's what they say. And they started making these constructions there and teaching the locals agriculture and trying to restart civilization in various ways. So it also aligns with what the myths tell us. Now, my question is this. If you have that level of technology, why would you isolate yourself to Antarctica? Antarctica is a place that's completely isolated. Think about it, right? All the oceans of the world, the Atlantic Ocean, Pacific Ocean, Indian Ocean, they meet around Antarctica, and it's sort of hidden away from all the other continents of the planet to the extent that we did not discover it until like the 1800s, except, of course, it's on a few anomalous maps. The Piri Reis map and the Orontes Phineas map and so on and so forth. But we didn't find, in our modern Western civilization, we didn't find the damn continent until the 1800s.
Did they think it was safer there?
Here's what I think. If they were time travelers, they needed to isolate themselves from the timeline. If you were coming from the year 2200 or the year 3500, and for whatever reason you needed to reach back into the deep past of humanity, right? Let's say Earth suffers some horrendous cataclysm, or let's say they fought a war with an enemy that vanquished them, and their only retreat was backwards in time, to hide in time. You might be motivated by some kind of, noble intention not to mess with the human timeline to the extent that you can avoid it, and initially, you might decide to quarantine yourself to a place where you're not going to be observed by the other evolving societies on Earth. And Antarctica would be the ideal place.
What if Antarctica was Atlantis?
Bro, Antarctica's Atlantis.
I'm joking, you donut.
Fuck you, bro.
What most people don't know is that there was a major solar storm that hit the Earth in 1859. It goes by the name of the Carrington event, named for the astronomer who realized that the weird effects that happened on Earth were correlated to something he had seen on the sun. He had effectively put those two, he had seen the flare and then deduced that this was related to it. Now, in 1859, the world was not a very electrical place. In fact, the primary use of electricity was telegraphs. At the time, this burst of plasma caused those telegraphs. Stations caught fire, the entire network went down, telegraph operators were shocked at their stations. Messages could be sent even though there was no power being delivered to the system. It went down, and the induced charge in the wires was enough for telegraph operators to send messages over distances. So it was very dramatic if you were involved in telegraphs. But for the rest of humanity, it was a minor event. Now, we live in a very different world. We live in a world where everything has an electrical component. The way our cars function, the way food shows up in the supermarket, the way air travel and air traffic control works, all of these things are heavily electrical. And they are all tremendously vulnerable to the EMP effects that will come with a major solar impact.
What's the EMP effect?
It's an electromagnetic pulse, which is basically an induced charge in electrically active materials. So it's the kind of thing that a big enough one will fry every computer, will take most of the cars off the road. What we don't commonly know is that our grids, the grids that operate all of our electrical devices, they operate with these transformers, right, which control the flow of current. These transformers are huge, complicated machines, and if you needed one and you ordered it today, it would take a year for you to get it. If the world suddenly needed 70 of them or 100 of them, there's no telling what would happen. So while we all have the experience of a power outage causing us to lose electricity for hours or days, it is quite conceivable that a solar storm that took out a significant number of transformers could take a continent and turn it dark with no plan for bringing the lights back on.
Well, that's pretty fucking terrifying.
Yeah, but we didn't already have enough to worry about.
Hey, TikTok, why are you suppressing the views of what's going on in Conyers, Georgia with the explosion, where there's thousands that are affected and even been told to evacuate their area and others being told to be shelter in place? I mean, this thing looks like an entire nightmare of a situation that is going on. And I tried talking about it within an hour of it happening this morning, with saying that this is not the first time, nor will it be the last time. It happened in 2021, 2019, and 2004 was a horrific scene like this, to where it was so bad it reached from Conyers, Georgia down to Augusta, which was about 100 miles away, affecting people, their houses, and the animals even were affected with these horrible chemicals in the air. They've even gone and shut down the interstate for this. You think that Ohio's situation was bad? This is a nightmare. And I want to know, why is this being suppressed? This happened this morning. Take care. God bless.
Ted, what the fuck was that?
There's a fire at a chemical plant, bro. There's loads of crazy shit going on at the moment.
I really don't think y'all understand how bad it is in the southeast right now. We have towns that don't exist anymore. Chimney Rock is gone. The city of Asheville is cut off from the world. This is not an exaggeration. All the bridges leading into the city have been washed away. They have no food, no power, no water, no internet, no cell service. They don't even have radio. It's a complete dead zone. No one knows what's going on in there. I don't think I'm being dramatic when I say that this is a Hurricane Katrina level event. There was a woman in my town who called for an ambulance, and the ambulance got stranded. And they were stranded for 24 hours, and to my knowledge, the patient didn't make it. People are dying. They're still dying. I've been running the generator for the last 3 days, and we're starting to run out of gas. And this is on Highway 123 heading from Aisley to Greenville. And this was a 1 mile long line to get gas because they were the only people we knew around that had gas left. I got all the way to the end and they were out. They had no gas. We checked every gas station in Pickens and Aisley and Liberty, nothing. And I don't know what I'm going to do when I run out of gas, I'll tell you that much. Try to steal some from my car maybe to keep my food cold, but even then, I don't know. This is the I-40 bridge, from Tennessee to North Carolina. It's gone. It don't exist no more either. We have people dying out here.
This is horrible. They need to get help to these people.
I think there might be more to it, bro.
This flooding in North Carolina does not sit well with me. I think something's going on. So I decided to do some digging. So the first thing I find out is North Carolina has the richest deposits of lithium in the entire world. Yeah, lithium for cars, batteries, all that. Then I find out they have the world's highest purity quartz deposits. And that quartz just so happens to be the world's supply for AI chips, microchips, and all kinds of stuff. We're talking a $530 billion industry. So this is where it gets interesting. So a company by the name of Piedmont Lithium is awaiting a state mining permit for a site in northern Gaston County. And Gaston County is completely flooded right now. The project was awaiting zoning approval because they were getting backlash from the residents and also city officials. And this lithium mine they want would be the third largest producer of lithium in the world. And they made a deal with Tesla already. Now remember the quartz? So in Spruce Pine, North Carolina, right next to Ashland, they are wanting to expand their mines even larger. And the residents aren't having it either. Enter the floods. People, these are mountain towns. It rarely, if not ever, floods in the mountains. I would know, I grew up in the mountains in Colorado, which means none of these people have flood insurance. I mean, the media is saying biblical devastation in North Carolina, AKA the worst thing that could happen, and you're not coming back from it. Read between the lines, people. Everything happens for a reason.
Every time some billionaires want some land, there's a natural disaster, bro.
Whatever the reason, they need to get these people to safety.
There's a guy in Iowa got curious, why do the birds start chirping an hour before sunrise? He found out that chirping of the birds is a frequency that helps open up the plant cells, stomata, on the bottom of the leaf, and it lets the plant start breathing in the morning. It helps the alarm clock and wakes the plant up. He found out that frequency is found in classical music quite a bit. So he started playing classical music to his cornfield. His neighbors thought, he's a couple fries short of a Happy Meal, till his corn grew 15 feet tall. And they said, what channel was that you're playing? He played the music to his squash plants. They produced 5 squash per leaf instead of 1. He played it to his black
black walnut tree and it grew twice as fast as normal, called Sonic Bloom. Combination of vitamins for the plant and special frequencies to open up this tomato. Dr. Mori in Tokyo started raising a tomato plant under pressurized carbon dioxide, so I've heard, and filtered sunlight. He blocked out the UV light. His tomato plant grew a little faster than normal and it kept growing and growing and growing. And they said, wow, this thing's getting bigger. After 2 years, it had produced 900 tomatoes and was 16 feet tall. They moved it to a shopping center, built scaffolding to hold up the branches, and it kept growing and growing. They said they took it to Expo 85 and said this plant might produce 10,000 tomatoes.
So why I keep hearing classical music coming out of your room?
Yeah, bro. We're gonna need a bigger grow tent.
It's a beetle that they find in the wild, and this beetle might be the reason we're able to make flying cars, flying everything, literally levitating hoverboards, all of that shit.
Okay, let me see.
So it's the same scientist that he took a beetle wing, he placed it on top of another beetle wing, and it like bounced off almost as if it was a magnet.
Oh, okay.
Check this out.
Oh, maybe I have seen this video.
This is a real video. He just tested
One
it.
of these cells to hover over the other one. The original of this video.
Yeah, let me play it up. So this is that scientist you put on top. And it floats on top. It levitates on top. Look, he's gonna do it right now.
Yeah.
Literally, there's no effects, no nothing. Look, you see it? It's like hovering. Look, you see it? It's hovering. It's literally hovering, bro.
That's
wild.
That's straight off, like you said, frequency, right?
So, what if you use a microscope and go deep into what the wings are made of? The pattern is what? Is the same geometric.
You sure that's real?
Yeah, bro. It's the same with bees.
A bee scientifically cannot fly with its body weight and the size of its wings. Cannot. It shouldn't be able to. Right?
True.
But there's actually real things that are going on. They don't really just use their wings to flap air to fly. What they're doing is they're using vibration to make themselves fly. They're using frequency to make themselves fly. You know when they put sand on a table and they play a certain hertz, a certain frequency of sound, what happens to sand? It creates like hexagons. It creates like certain patterns. What is a honeycomb?
Oh, it's the same thing?
It's the same thing. It's hexagons. How do they make that shape? It's because of the vibration they're moving at. Now, why is honey literally probably the only food naturally that doesn't go bad? Like fungus can't grow on it. It's so pure. It has all of these nutrients. It's very good for humans, very good for everyone. But it doesn't go bad and it stays so pure. What makes it that way? It's been blessed by the frequency of the bees. And it's put into that, people call it like sacred geometry. That's what they call it.
Oh, it's sacred geometry.
The hexagon, because the honeycomb is literally a hexagon. When what they do, they throw up the pollen into the thing and then they use their vibration to create it.
Damn, I didn't know that.
We should do an episode on sacred geometry.
Yeah, bro. And frequencies.
Nikola Tesla said that the primary function of the brain is to receive information because it operates as a transmitter. The problem with most people is that their mind is full of static. Porn, music, addiction, drugs. Their mind is full of static noise, social media. They have no clarity, number one. Number two, like a radio station. Imagine you're driving down 1950s, 1960s. You're cruising down the highway, old school car. You're tuning up the radio. The frequency already exists. What you do in order to tap into that frequency and into that state is you need to tune the radio. The frequency state of whatever it is that you want, it already exists in its plane of manifestation. You just have to position yourself there. So what if all your trauma, all your belief systems, you're just operating at a lower vibrational frequency state, which is what's causing you to experience that state of reality. And by changing your frequency state, you elevate your consciousness. And by elevating your consciousness, now you position yourself as a master of your mind, because it's all battle of the mind. But you can instantly break the illusion
by changing the frequency that you're in. So what is the highest form of frequency? We see the charts, they talk about enlightenment. What the fuck is enlightenment? Right under enlightenment is the vibrational frequency of love, which most people are like, hey, love is the most powerful thing. It's not. What is enlightenment? There was a test that was conducted that took about 20 years, where they put individuals into a Faraday cage and you begin prompting them with different things to trigger what vibrational frequencies within their body. And they realized after different prompts that the highest form of vibrational frequency is the vibrational frequency of authenticity, to be the truest form of yourself. The problem is most people are not that. They're shells of the ambitions and the desires of other people. So once you live authentically and in truth, you elevate yourself to that vibrational frequency where you realize who you actually are, and you don't condition yourself or limit yourself by all the past. And by breaking that illusion, you instantly enter a new paradigm of reality.
Tesla was bad for business, bro. But we'll have to save that for next time.
Hold up, Ted. Thanks to all the new members who have joined this week.
Thank Brother Rodlock, guys. He gifted 10 memberships.
Yeah, Rodlock, you're a legend, mate. And Salad420, get in touch, we've got some stuff to show you.
Thanks to everyone who's ordered some merch. We've got new designs dropping real soon.
And as always, thanks for watching. Remember to like, comment and subscribe. And we'll see you in the next one.